Do you know how people pray when there is no time left, when fear closes in? And every decision feels heavier than the last at such moments. In a fragile city facing fire, war, and uncertainty, a community discovered that one whispered prayer could change everything without noise or spectacle, and quiet trust endured. It is a tale of fear, faith, and a mother believed to arrive precisely when hope seems lost for countless hearts everywhere. This is the story of Our Lady of Prompt Succor. Before beginning, drop an Ave Maria in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more stories of Our Lady. Don't forget to share it so others may discover this story and be inspired to live holier lives. Chapter 1. The Title That Comes in Time. Our Lady of Prompt Succor is a Marian title that reveals the Blessed Virgin as a mother who arrives in time. She is invoked not when everything is calm and ordered, but when danger draws near, when hearts are confused, when the soul feels trapped with no clear path forward. This title speaks of a maternal presence that does not delay, a nearness that comforts when human strength reaches its limit. This devotion does not arise from a single apparition or from a new message given to the Church. Instead, it belongs to the long and quiet stream of Catholic piety, shaped by prayer, discernment, and lived faith. It stands firmly within the teaching of the Church, honoring Mary in her true role, without exaggeration or novelty. It is faith growing naturally from the Church's experience of God's mercy. The words prompt succor describe something deeply human. There are moments when life moves faster than our ability to plan or reflect. In such moments, there is no time to calculate outcomes or search for solutions. All that remains is a cry from the heart. This title gives voice to those moments, when prayer becomes simple, urgent, and honest, rising almost instinctively toward heaven. The heart of this devotion is not the search for extraordinary signs or emotional excitement. It is a humble plea for help that allows faith to remain steady under pressure. Those who invoke Our Lady of Prompt Succor ask for clarity in confusion, peace amid fear, and strength to choose what is right when choices must be made quickly. It is a devotion shaped by trust rather than spectacle. In honoring Mary under this title, the Church proclaims her as a powerful intercessor, not as a replacement for God. She does not command grace by her own power, but presents our needs to her Son with a mother's confidence. Every grace received through her intercession flows from God alone, according to His wisdom and His loving will, never apart from it. This title speaks with particular force to the world of today. Accidents happen without warning. Illness arrives suddenly. Families face crises they never imagined. Decisions must be made that carry lasting consequences. In those moments, many people do not know where to turn. Our Lady of Prompt Succor becomes a name they can whisper when words are few and fear is great. From this spiritual foundation, the story moves beyond ideas into history. What began as a simple act of trust would soon take flesh in real events, real dangers, and real prayers offered by a community. Those prayers did not fade with time. They became the shared memory of a city, shaping its faith and leaving a mark that would endure for generations. Chapter 2. Ursuline Beginnings. The devotion to Our Lady of Prompt Succor is inseparable from the lived history of the Ursuline sisters and their faithful journey through uncertain times. It was born within a community shaped by prayer, discipline, and service, where trust in God was tested daily. Rather than emerging from moments of visible success, this devotion took shape amid instability, teaching the sisters to rely not on their own strength, but on quiet confidence in Mary's maternal care. The circumstances surrounding this beginning were far from comfortable or secure. The Ursuline communities faced shortages of personnel, fragile institutions, and constant pressure to rebuild religious life and education. Resources were limited, responsibilities were heavy, and the future often seemed unclear. Yet within these constraints, the sisters learned to persevere, discovering that vulnerability itself could become a doorway through which deeper faith and trust were allowed to grow. It was precisely in this atmosphere of strain that a heartfelt cry arose. The sisters turned to the Blessed Virgin as a true point of support, invoking her not with elaborate words, but with the urgency of children in need. They asked for prompt help, not to escape responsibility, but to remain faithful amid difficulty. Their prayer reflected a living relationship, grounded in confidence that a mother listens when her children call. This devotion spread in a distinctly Catholic way, marked by patience rather than excitement. There were no attempts to attract attention or stir curiosity through extraordinary claims. Instead, the sisters allowed prayer, obedience, and perseverance to shape the devotion slowly. It matured within the rhythm of daily life, nourished by silence, sacrifice, and trust, proving that what is rooted in God does not require noise to endure. A concrete sign soon gave visible form to this interior trust. An image of the Blessed Virgin holding the child Jesus became closely linked to the devotion. Before this image, the sisters gathered in moments of need, finding unity and consolation. It was not the artwork itself that mattered most, but what it represented: a mother drawing her children together, inviting them to place their fears before her. Within this practice, an important theological truth became clearer. When the Church turns to Mary, it is not stepping away from God, but entering more deeply into the mystery of communion. Trust in Mary's intercession expresses faith that the prayers of the faithful are never isolated. Through her, the Church lives its belief that God works through relationships, love, and shared holiness. From this foundation, the devotion did not remain confined to a single place. It traveled with the Ursuline sisters as they crossed seas and cultures, carried quietly in their hearts. Wherever they went, their trust in Our Lady of Prompt Succor went with them. In time, this humble devotion would take root in New Orleans, where it would encounter history in ways no one could have foreseen. Chapter 3. Arriving in New Orleans became the place where this devotion truly took flesh, and history began to breathe through prayer. It was a port city shaped by uncertainty, growing amid wars, epidemics, destructive fires, and the constant fear that haunted those who lived near the river and the sea. The Catholic community was still fragile and forming. Faith here was not theoretical, it was lived daily, under pressure, with tomorrow never guaranteed. In this fragile setting, the Ursuline sisters emerged as quiet anchors of stability. They were women of deep prayer, yet their witness extended far beyond chapel walls. They taught children, cared for the sick, welcomed the poor, and preserved the rhythm of sacramental life. Through ordinary faithfulness, they offered something rare in a restless city: continuity. Their daily service became a living testimony that God remained present even when circumstances felt unstable. Because of this lived witness, devotion to Our Lady of Prompt Succor did not remain a private practice or a written tradition. It entered the very heartbeat of the city. People prayed for peace during anxious nights, for protection when danger loomed, and for wisdom when choices were heavy and unclear. Mary's name was spoken quietly in homes and churches, woven naturally into the fears and hopes of everyday life. Gradually, a shared instinct of faith took root within the community. When danger approached, people no longer faced it alone. They gathered, instinctively turning toward prayer. Crisis became a moment of communion rather than isolation. In coming together before God, the faithful discovered strength not only in divine help, but also in one another, learning to stand united rather than scattered by fear. The title, Prompt Succor, felt especially close to the hearts of immigrants. Many had crossed oceans seeking safety and stability, only to encounter new uncertainties. Life felt fragile, employment uncertain, and the future unclear. In this emotional landscape, the image of a mother who stays near, who listens quickly, and who understands fear without judgment resonated deeply with their lived experience. It was within this context that the story moved from quiet devotion into remembered event. A first concrete incident began to circulate in community memory, spoken of with gratitude rather than drama. It was remembered as a moment when prayer was answered in a timely way, restoring calm and confidence. Such memories strengthened trust and quietly confirmed the faith people already carried in their hearts. Soon, however, the city would face a far greater trial. A danger would arise that threatened not only individual lives, but the future of New Orleans itself. In that hour of fear, the community would be tested together. From this crisis would emerge a defining chapter in the city's spiritual history, marked by united prayer, unexpected protection, and a tradition of thanksgiving that would endure long after the danger had passed. Chapter 4. Fire and the Cry for Help. A sudden fire threatened the area surrounding the convent, placing the entire community in a moment of deep fear. Flames drew close, and with limited means, the sisters and those nearby faced the real possibility of losing everything they had built. The danger felt immediate and overwhelming. In those tense hours, human solutions seemed insufficient, and the community found itself standing on the edge between hope and despair. In the face of this danger, a prayer rose almost instinctively. The cry turned toward Our Lady of Prompt Succor, not with elaborate words, but with the urgency of children calling for their mother. It was a prayer shaped by trust rather than panic, spoken in the belief that Mary listens when her children are afraid. The plea was simple: help us now before it is too late. Tradition recalls that the situation soon changed in a way that allowed the fire to subside and the convent to be spared. What might have become a devastating loss instead became a moment remembered with gratitude. This event was not preserved as a dramatic legend, but as a quiet, sacred memory. For the community, it became a sign that their prayer had been heard in a moment of real need. What makes this story compelling is the way the help was understood. The community did not speak of magic or spectacle. They recognized the moment as timely assistance from God, sought through the intercession of the Blessed Virgin. Grace was seen at work within the natural unfolding of events. Faith did not deny reality, but perceived God's nearness within it, gently guiding the outcome. This experience shaped a very grounded understanding of Mary's care. She was not only invoked in national crises or distant threats, but in dangers close at hand. The fire showed that her maternal help extends to ordinary, immediate risks. The devotion became more concrete, more personal. It spoke to daily life, where danger often arrives without warning and help is needed without delay. From this event, the community learned a lasting lesson about prayer. Prayer was not a way to control events or demand outcomes. It was a way of clinging to God when circumstances exceeded human strength. In praying together, fear was transformed into trust. The act of prayer itself became a source of unity, courage, and interior stability amid external threat. When war later drew near and the city faced an even greater danger, this memory remained alive. The experience of the fire had taught the community how to respond. They had learned where to turn and how to pray when fear returned. This earlier moment prepared their hearts for the historic night of prayer that would come before the Battle of New Orleans. Chapter 5. The Shrine and the Promise. On the night of the 7th of January, 1815, as danger drew near and fear settled over the city, the people of New Orleans gathered with the Ursuline sisters in prayer. Before the image of the Blessed Virgin, they kept vigil through the night, entrusting their city to Our Lady of Prompt Succor. It was a moment of deep unity, when prayer became the city's final refuge, offered with urgency, hope, and quiet trust. During that night of prayer, the superior of the Ursuline community made a solemn and concrete promise. If the city were spared from destruction, a mass of thanksgiving would be offered each year in gratitude to God. This vow was not made lightly, nor as a bargain, but as an expression of faith. It bound prayer to responsibility, hope to remembrance, and trust to a future act of thanksgiving. The following day, January 8, became inseparable from this promise. As the city was preserved, the vow was honored, and the Mass of Thanksgiving was celebrated. This tradition did not fade into memory or legend. Year after year, the Eucharist continued to be offered, transforming a moment of fear into a living act of gratitude. Thanksgiving became part of the city's spiritual rhythm, not merely a historical footnote. Over time, National Shrine of Our Lady of Prompt Succor emerged as the place where this sacred memory was safeguarded. Within its walls, faith, promise, and gratitude were held together. The shrine became a living witness to what happens when prayer is remembered and fulfilled. It preserved not only events of the past, but the spiritual meaning carried forward through generations of believers. In this way, the shrine became more than a physical location. It became a lesson in faith. Here, the Church teaches that asking and thanking belong together. Grace received calls for gratitude expressed. Thanksgiving is not optional, nor secondary. It is renewed through the liturgy, where memory is transformed into worship, and history is lifted into the eternal offering of the Church to God. One striking detail remains vivid in the telling of this story. Even as prayer and thanksgiving were offered, the sounds of conflict could still be heard nearby. Worship did not wait for complete safety. Prayer unfolded in the midst of danger itself. This detail reveals a mature faith, one that does not postpone trust until fear disappears, but dares to pray while uncertainty still surrounds. From the shrine, the story reaches into the present. People continue to come with urgent needs, quiet hopes, and heavy burdens. They pray with the same trust, and they remember with the same gratitude. The devotion lives on, not as a relic of the past, but as a living faith, practiced carefully, humbly, and with enduring confidence in God's faithful care. Chapter 6. Extraordinary Graces and Quiet Gifts. This devotion has long been associated with many favors remembered within the community, yet its heart is not the collecting of extraordinary stories. What matters most is learning to recognize the hand of God at work in real life. Graces are remembered not to impress, but to give thanks. They are shared carefully, with humility, as signs that God remains attentive to His people, often acting gently through prayer and trust. Among these favors are moments of help that arrive just in time. Some speak of clarity granted when a difficult decision had to be made quickly. Others recall a sudden calm in moments of panic, or the strength to remain standing when everything seemed about to collapse. These are not dramatic miracles, but quiet interventions that allow faith to guide action when fear might otherwise take control. There are also testimonies of healing and recovery from illness. These stories are usually told with restraint, as journeys shaped by prayer, patience, and surrender rather than instant transformation. Healing is understood as a process that unfolds under God's care, sometimes through medicine, sometimes through time, and always through grace. The focus remains not on the wonder itself, but on the faith that sustained hope throughout the trial. Other graces speak of protection, both for families and for the wider community. In moments of danger, people have sensed that they were preserved from harm in ways they cannot fully explain. These experiences are received with gratitude, understood as God's providence working through many means. Within this faith, Mary's intercession is seen as maternal care that places needs before God's merciful gaze. One of the most powerful yet least visible gifts is interior order. In times of great upheaval, the community did not descend into despair or chaos. Instead, people learned to gather, to pray, and to act wisely. This inner stability became a form of grace, allowing fear to be transformed into responsibility. Such calm, born of faith, often protects more deeply than any outward sign. Catholic teaching offers a clear lens for discerning these experiences. Every grace comes from God alone. Mary does not replace him, but lovingly intercedes, guiding hearts toward deeper trust. Authentic devotion always leads to a stronger sacramental life, greater humility, and a faith that seeks God's will rather than personal reassurance. True graces draw the soul closer to Christ and to the life of the Church. For this reason, the devotion does not end with stories of the past. It gently calls each listener to act now. Prayer remains essential, not only in crisis, but in daily life. Trust must be renewed, and gratitude expressed faithfully. Through prayer, surrender, and thanksgiving, believers continue to live this devotion, allowing God's quiet work to shape their present with hope. Chapter 7. A Prayer with Our Lady of Prompt Succor. Our Lady of Prompt Succor. In moments when time slips away and my mind can no longer grasp every detail, come close to me as a gentle mother. When understanding fails and fear rises, sustain my heart. Help me trust that God is already at work, even before I can see the way forward, and remain near until light returns. When I stand confused before a heavy decision and every choice seems costly, intercede for me, loving Mother. Ask your Son to grant me wisdom and courage, so that I may choose what pleases God, even when obedience demands sacrifice. Teach me that faithfulness matters more than comfort, and that true peace flows from choosing God's will. When illness, accidents, or sudden crises shake my sense of security, Our Lady of Prompt Succor, cover me with your calm presence. Ask God to grant me peace that steadies my heart and courage that does not flee. Even when outcomes remain uncertain, help me rest in trust, knowing that God's mercy surrounds me in every moment. Teach me to pray in the darkness, as the faithful once prayed amid danger and uncertainty. When answers delay and silence feels heavy, help me remain faithful. Guide me to place my whole hope in God, not demanding immediate relief, but trusting His loving plan. Let prayer become my refuge, even when fear still lingers nearby. Intercede for my family, gentle Mother, that we may learn unity of heart. Help us speak words of forgiveness, seek reconciliation, and return faithfully to the sacraments. May our home become a place where grace is welcomed and nurtured, where love is renewed daily, and where God's presence quietly grows through patience, humility, and shared prayer. Remind me always that every grace comes from God alone. When help arrives, whether swiftly or slowly, teach me to respond with gratitude rather than forgetfulness. Keep my heart attentive in thanksgiving, so I may recognize God's kindness in ordinary days and remain faithful in praise, even after the moment of need has passed. Our Lady of Prompt Succor, Mother who comes in time, pray for us today. Stay close to us in every struggle, in moments of fear and uncertainty, when our strength fades and our time runs short. Lead us gently to your Son. Help us trust in God's mercy, remain faithful in hope, and persevere in love until our final hour. Amen.